Slimehouse TV, myself, Theo Kane, just in the car with Bentlegs, just come off the M1 because we're heading to Derby today, and we're going to link up with a good friend of ours who is not only a big collector of retro games, but he's also a fellow YouTuber who's smashing it at the minute. You might have seen him on this channel a few times before because we bumped into him at the toy fairs and stuff like that, but we've never actually linked up and done any kind of collaboration or just had a day chilling or anything like that before. So all that's going to change today. We're going to go check out our friend Retro Ghetto. We're going to go see the 3.0, see his collection, and this is a video that's been requested many times, both on my channel and on his channel as well. So yeah, man, really looking forward to it. Just gonna have a nice vibesy day and gonna bring you along for the journey. So let's see how we get on. And we made it. So this is a collaboration that we've wanted to do for a while.
Long time.
I mean, it's not even a collaboration. We've just linked up. I'm going to check out your games room, innit? But it's been requested a lot on your channel and requested a lot on my channel. And I've seen the 3.0, as you call it, your games room, lots of times on the vlogs, in videos, but I've never actually had the pleasure of seeing it in person. And from what I understand, I'm the first YouTuber that's even getting this opportunity.
I might be first and last.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
but I've been wanting to get here for a long time, man. I'm a big fan of what you guys do as well. So let's go and have a look.
After you, brother.
Let's go, man.
Show me what we're dealing with.
So this is the guy you have to pay your toll. You have to pay him respect, look, so.
My G.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, Mint, you built this, right?
Yeah,
you
from
built
scratch.
This from
What I'll do is
scratch.
I'll send you the footage. But it was a dilapidated garage. It was covered in mold. The garage ended like here, roughly here, and had a real low ceiling. And then this got all extended out. And literally yesterday, I think it's the first time I've said the room's finished. A game room's never finished.
Yeah.
But you know, in terms of like what I own, everything that I want in here is in here. So yeah, it's you guys are seeing the completed 3.0 for the first time.
If you've watched any of his vlogs, if not, I urge you to go watch them because they're really good. But you've showed this from the ground up being built, and then there's so many ones where you'll be watching it and you're like, I need to rejig this shelf because I've got a new game, and this Mega Drive section is to the game. There's not like a space for a new one, so you're having to replace an old one with a new one. So you've got to a point where it's like maxed out, right? Yeah,
my hall of shame down here, like that's all stuff that needs going away. Like I said, I've reached the end of a lot of shelves.
And this isn't your storage stuff. This isn't like this, because you always said that like you've got a lot more that's like in storage as well. This is not. This is just like the stuff that you've chose to be displayed. But I feel like as a collector, you've been doing it for a good few years now. You get to a point where you're more focused in on what you're collecting. You're not just buying anything that's retro gaming anymore. You've got like a focus.
It's like we were saying off camera, I don't have to display the whole set. So if there's 5 figures in the line, I bought all 5, but I realised just put your 2 favourite ones out.
That's right,
because as much as this room's full, I don't want it to be too cluttered. And not one thing in here takes precedent over the general aesthetic of the room.
No.
So if there was one thing, like I've got a life-size Link, like a Zelda statue.
Yeah, I remember that,
And I tried to shoehorn it in here in loads of different places, but it always caught my if there's anything in here that catches my eye that don't look right, it has to go.
It does show you won't be able to
concentrate. It's got to be right or I don't live in here.
Yeah, and that's like the thing that people don't think about when they talk about a collection room and they think, oh, it must be mint having that room. There's nothing worse than having like too much stuff piled up and like you're knocking it over, you can't move.
Absolutely. That was one of the first things. So when I built this room, because I made that exact mistake before.
Yeah.
Like, I've got everything in my room, but then it's hard to enjoy it because if I turn left, I'm knocking this over, or I'm constantly having to fix this or pick that up. Whereas this here, my seating area, this was like first thing I did. So I need to be able to fully recline. So there's nothing behind here. Like, I can do that.
Yeah, because again, no worse than like knocking stuff.
Absolutely.
It's stressful, man.
So then
You're trying to kick back.
Everything got built around that.
Yeah.
So I'm comfortable, I'm nice, and then everything else can go in around this. So I've not had to sacrifice my own enjoyment of the room. You know, it's just to get more stuff in. And
this isn't a small room, but it's like, it's full now, do you know what I mean? It's you don't want to be putting too much stuff in. I mean, I'm seeing like little bits of shelf space, so I'm thinking, you could put some more stuff up there, like maybe if there's like another line that you're trying to collect and stuff, you could. But yeah, I like how you said it's finished now. It's finished and it's at a point where you're happy to have at least one visitor.
Yeah, but like I didn't want to fill every gap.
No.
You know, like potentially you could put things here, there, but it's about leaving enough space that the things that you've got stand out.
Yeah, so you can appreciate it. Otherwise, it's just like a clusterfuck of like lots of things all on a shelf together, and you stop appreciating what they are. I always thought that with like NECA figures and that, when people have like 50 Predators. I'm just looking at a brown mass now. I'm not even seeing like one individual Predator.
It's exactly
anymore.
true. Same with the Street Fighter figures here. That's one of the few lines where I've sort of put everything out that I own, because it's like one of my favourite toy lines to collect for.
And they are
but
colourful.
There's some
and
amazing
nice.
figures that are just sat behind two other figures that you can't really appreciate, but that's just, to some extent, it's just balancing that and only having certain lines that you do that with. But what I tried to do with this room is like different angles, isn't it? So everywhere you stand in this room, there'll be something different to see, other little things that aren't on display from certain angles. Do you know what I mean? So there's always something different to be looking at. The PlayStation 1 section that you've just kindly pushed in for me, that's the only bit in the room where I haven't got the little shelf hat.
Have I just messed it up?
Yeah, that's all right. But if you look at this, so if you look at all these, like you can take them out and put them back in,
right.
So what I did was I just got like a piece of trunking, measured it so that you can easily take the games out, because what most people do is they tend to like push the games to the back.
As I just beautifully demonstrated.
So they push them right to the back, then you're left with that space at the front of the shelf. But aesthetically, I think it looks better to have it
for sure.
up against the edge of the thing. But again, it's just that level of...
And there's always that like temptation then to start putting stuff in front of him, isn't there? If he's like a bit of a shelf,
fill it with toys and trinkets
little bits
and dust.
Exactly. In terms of the collection, what is it that you're focusing on right now?
The thing that got me into it all, particularly video games, was the Super Nintendo, which is why I created the Super Nintendo wall. So this was like my passion in it. This got me into it. I was about 4 or 5 years old one Christmas morning, got the Super Nintendo box, and it all kind of spiraled from there. So like my collecting focus right now is just getting as many Super Nintendo games as I can. There's 530 in the set, and I've just got over 200, so I'm kind of quietly working my way to a full Super Nintendo set. But yeah, this is my pride and joy. Of all the games, this would be the last to go.
I feel they look the best as well, do you know? Even though they're cardboard cases, which is as well probably a detriment, I think that's the right word, to how throwaway they were, because it's basically packaging. It's like a cereal box, isn't it? It's just cardboard. I've got tons of SNES and I haven't got any that's in the box. Not that I've gone out looking for them, but whenever I've got a haul of stuff in, I found them in skips and all sorts, it's always just the cartridges, and the cartridges on their own look wax stacked. They're just grey, aren't they?
It's art.
Yeah,
This is art, and that's why
100%.
That's why I wanted it on display. And you can't display everything because you just don't have the wall space, but Super Nintendo, like the bright colours.
It's like VHS art, it needs to
definitely.
be displayed
Even
properly.
like my standees and stuff, to me that's like history, right? That's art. It's a piece of art for me, and that's why I like to collect it and curate it, I suppose you might say. But that's definitely like the driving factor behind having the Super Nintendo wall, was getting the boxes on display. But like you say, man, that Nintendo cardboard, it's like 30 years old now. So that's why it's not getting any cheaper, that's for sure.
But because even at the time, that would have got dashed in the bin. Do you know what I mean? Christmas morning when there's like wrapping paper and boxes around.
Yeah, of course.
You know, Dad would have been like, right, get rid of all this cardboard, you've got your games now.
I think that's what sets it apart nowadays, because everybody's keeping everything nowadays.
Yeah.
So everyone thinks everything's going to be ultimately worth money, but it won't be, because everyone's stacking everything. I think we've got a different knowledge now and understanding of how things appreciate in value.
And you're a bit like me in the terms of when I come to my action figures, I want it displayed, I want it with its weapon.
Yeah.
And you're like that with, you want this with its box and its manual.
That's it.
Tell us a bit about like the CEX lotteries that you do, Kex lotteries, sex lotteries, whatever you call it.
People that don't watch the channel, the way I collect, I'm cheap, right? Let's get it out of the way now. I'm cheap. The reason I have so much stuff is because I do it as frugally as possible. And a lot of what I do is charity shop hunting, so I'll find games of a lesser value in charity shop and I'll trade them in using CEX, and then I will use the voucher scheme to then buy a game that I want, often a Super Nintendo game. The thing is with CEX, when you buy from their online store with like a Super Nintendo game, it just says boxed. You don't know what condition, you don't know if it's going to be mint, you don't know if it's going to have a manual. So the CEX lottery is kind of like getting that package, opening it up, and like I say, you win some, you lose some, it's all part of the gamble, but more often than not I've been quite successful and had some really nice finds from CEX. So that's the way in which I tend to collect video games. It's the way I enjoy doing it. But equally, it keeps the price and the cost.
But a lot of time, you'll send them back if it's not got the manual. Or if it's cheap enough, you'll source the manual. But you want it complete in its entirety, like I am with my action figures. Some people aren't bothered. Some people just want the figure. I want it with its weapon.
Yeah,
and you're like that
value.
with the...
It's about the value, so it depends how much CEX charge me for it.
Yeah.
So if CEX have got it undervalued, I'll look at the market and think, right, well, it's worth it not having the manual because it's cost effective. But equally, if it's about on market with the value, and it doesn't have the manual, or it's a very expensive game, I'd likely send it back and then go down another route, or maybe even try again with the same game later down the line.
In terms of like your favourites and the stuff that you're displaying, have you got a preference?
Yeah, there's a few different things I've been through. So this here is the Konami silver box set. Konami was smashing it back in the day, right? All these games are classics.
Yeah.
And they had them all in silver boxes, so that was like a subset that I wanted to complete. Here's like the heavier hitters, so they're like more expensive games. But one of the things I'm also focusing on now is Disney games. So down there we've got like the Disney titles. There's a lot of them. That was back when that video game, every movie had like one or two video games coming out, right? But yeah, Disney were on point back then with the video games.
Talking like Aladdin, Jungle Book, Lion King.
Yeah, Goof Troop.
Ones,
they're all up there. I love all that 90s cartoon stuff as well. So like The Simpsons, Tom and Jerry, Roadrunner, Tasmanian Devil, all that kind of stuff. That kind of feeds into me, like the nostalgia vibe of it as well from the early 90s, because I'm a 90s kid, right? So that's what a lot of this room is.
I love the side scrollers. I'm just looking at Sunset Riders there. That's a banger.
That is today's video. So it'll already be live now, but that was like my latest like expensive piece. That's only just gone on the wall yesterday.
That's a banger as well. It's like Streets of Rage, but cowboys.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you don't mind. Yeah, you don't mind paying the money if it's a good game.
Yeah, it's genuinely a good game.
There are some games that are terrible, that's expensive because of the rarity. Whereas some games hold the value because of rarity and it's a sort of game to actually play and own.
Yeah, the side scrollers for me are the ones, and you've got some bangers here, some banger side scrollers. Well, I would like you to give me a bit of a tour of the room if that's cool.
Yeah,
like talk me through each shelf and things. And,
absolutely.
Just let me know like from start to finish like how you've created it and what we're looking at. Because obviously you're talking to me now and I'm getting distracted looking at all these.
That's what I mean.
Things.
Like,
but it'd be nice, you know, like just start here and work my way through so I can really like take everything in.
The best place to start, obviously, is where we come into the room. The doors are just boring, innit? And it had a window on it. I didn't want a window.
No sunlight in the collection room.
No sunlight. I've got a nice view, but you know what?
Yeah.
It's dead to me, that view. That blind never gets opened, ever. But this is one of my favourite games, the original God of War. I spoke about this on a channel recently. The same week that my son was born, this game came out. And it's all about Kratos' journey in becoming a father. Yeah. So it kind of hit home with me. It was proper mirrored my own life in many ways. So it kind of resonated with me a lot. So really enjoyed that game. One of my prize pieces, or three of my prize pieces, are my Grand Theft Auto San Andreas standees. There's just something that you just struggle to find nowadays. To me, these are like art. These are old pieces of cardboard. That's why I wanted her as you walk into the room. To get that shot. But yeah, really, really happy to have these standees. This is an original store display PlayStation Lite. So this is from 1994. Dug this out from a shop in Birmingham.
Yeah, where was that from?
It's a place in Birmingham. Randomly had it on eBay.
Yeah.
It was a bit beat up. It's got a bit of black tape. But I'm not a mint collector, man. I say it all the time. I'm happy to fix things up. I'm a fixer-upper.
It's an original piece. We don't matter.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like a bit of patina. Yeah. You know what I mean? It shows that love, shows that wear. I'd rather that than go into like a game store and buy a new one.
Yeah.
I'd rather have the original store display stuff.
Oh no, for sure, OG of a repro thing that you could buy in
this was never for sale.
And it won't be that big anyway. That's a nice
I like things that weren't for sale. I think that's just a natural sort of place for a collector to go. Once he's got all the stuff from his childhood, it starts to become about things that other people can't have, things you can't buy, things that you're not supposed to own, because shops are supposed to destroy this stuff.
Yeah.
That's why they're a bit covert when it comes to selling standees, or they'll do it for charity, or they say they're doing it for charity, because the company that gives it to you, really, you're supposed to destroy it as and when it's done. Yeah. You're not supposed to sell it or move it on. So, and then the Kallax unit, this was a mission, man. I think there's 13...
There's many videos documenting this thing.
Oh man, this is crazy, because I went through it and did all the wiring again, because I don't know how many consoles we've got in here now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A lot, right? And then you've got a clock, a HDMI switcher, there's 2 surround sound speakers, there's a speaker for the CD player. There's all sorts going on in this one unit, so it's a lot of wires.
You can understand why people have a little emulation about...
Serious. And then I'm trying to slowly get all white consoles. I'm picking up my white PS4 this week, actually, because that's getting fixed right now. So I'm trying to get the whole white aesthetic.
To look like a P. Diddy yacht party 2006.
Yeah.
All white party,
yeah, absolutely. I don't know, man. You're not collectors allowed. Just find things to buy, right? It's just like another little side mission.
Yeah, no, but it looks good.
And this is one of my favourite finds ever. So this is a Technics CD player here.
Classic.
This, the things that you covet as a kid. Like all the older, cooler guys and the adults that had money had one of these.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I could never afford one of these, right? I had a little rubbish hi-fi that was all in one. Do you know what I mean? With my little CD collection. I found this in a charity shop for £10. £10, mate. Took it home, polished it up. And to this day, that's one of my favourite finds because, £10, mate. You can't really
a lot of your videos are all about what I can get from the charity shop and trading at keks.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about, talk about it properly later when we get onto the SNES and stuff, but I know that a lot of your stuff that you've got is all from like trading and hustling and wheeling dealing,
Hunting,
and you
man.
don't want to just buy it, you wanted to do it on a
Absolutely, it's the wheeling and the dealing of it. That's the enjoyment of it for me.
This is a dope telly as well, right? Because you've got so many different screens set up. Is this is a what's this one for? That's a particular screen.
Yeah, so this one I tend to play my Nintendo Switch on.
Right.
So this is like new school stuff.
Yeah, that's for PS5.
Yeah, HDMI stuff
Yeah,
basically goes on there. This is old school stuff, so 16. I go from sort of PS2 downwards.
Yeah, yeah.
So like down to Mega Drive, Super Nintendo.
It's not a CRT, is it? It's one just
No,
a
it
bit
is
up from a
CRT.
CRT. Is it still
It is
a
a
CRT?
CRT, yeah.
Is it like a dome screen, or is it ever?
Yeah, this is
when
just
we
a
went from portables to like the widescreen,
this is
but with
just
the
a
big back.
protective like glass.
Right.
But Bang & Olufsen's like, if you know about tech, like Bang & Olufsen's like the high end.
Really?
This television when new, I don't know, thousands and thousands of pounds.
In its day, yeah.
Thousands. I got it for free because people get to that point now
Yeah,
where
they
it's
don't
too
want
big.
it. It's big
It's
daft
too
thing
big.
going out
But
of
if you
way.
know, you know. Like Bang & Olufsen stuff, like even a speaker will cost you hundreds
Really?
and hundreds of pounds. Yeah, they still have them. They get them in outlet centres and stuff now. But if you go in there, it's one of them places that don't have prices on. There'll be about 5 things in there, and none of it's got a price on.
Yeah, it's like
because
a
if you shop
designer
in there,
shoe
yeah,
shop
you
and
don't
that,
ask the price.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's one of them. But the old school stuff like this.
It's chunky, isn't it?
Bro, I'll show you what this is going to do, man.
looking at
There's going to be a shot you're going to want on this. I'm telling you, man. Does
it do something cool?
You know what I mean? There's a lot of cool things. This. I love this.
You hype this telly up now. It better be good.
Bro, trust me. Trust me. Like, feel that?
Why, it's solid, that, innit?
Yeah.
Like a murder weapon,
aluminium
man.
or whatever. Yeah. Just don't make things like they used to.
No,
do they?
no. Yeah,
Yeah.
It does look mint, that.
But watch this. Yeah, watch this. You get your camera on here.
Damn, son. That's like some MTV crib stuff that you'd have seen as a kid and been like, woo!
Imagine that back in the day.
Yeah,
Busting
that's
out
sick.
the DVD.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, so this big TV here is for all the more modern stuff. So everything that's sort of HDMI and above, PlayStation 4, 5 onwards, PS3, that kind of thing. And then this TV here is for the old school stuff. So this is all SCART-based stuff. So Super Nintendo and Mega Drive primarily, but I also play PS2 on here. And then this one I tend to use for the Nintendo Switch. So what the benefit of this one is that I can move it and extend it, he says as he pulls the signal out.
Yeah, because people play them shmups that way now, don't they?
Yeah, that's called tate mode. So when you're playing like a shmup,
Yeah.
you can have it in like,
Shoot 'em up. I never knew what that meant. I had to Google it when you said shmup. I'm like,
so you can
shmup.
play it in vertical mode, but it just gives me other options.
Yeah.
I can lie on the sofa, I can put it there, I can put it here, and I can be doing different things at once. So I can have football on, I can be playing this or playing that, and all 3 TVs.
That was a dream as a kid. I used to be like, I wish I could like sit on my PlayStation with some music playing, but then also like watching a movie on TV.
That's
and
it.
This is the setup.
That's it. So now I can like do everything, even like just putting YouTube on. So, you know, if I'm watching a live stream,
Yeah.
I can have it on this TV in the background, and then I can be playing what I'm doing
Yeah,
on the
sometimes
big
you're
TV.
just like completing an objective or a trophy and you don't even need the sound on. It's
Absolutely.
just like, or farming or whatever. I don't know what you do on this game. I know like Dark Souls and that, we have to go farming embers and things.
So that's it. So all 3 do actually have a use, so they do get used quite a lot. As much as my missus tries to tell me it wasn't necessary, they do all get used.
Did you not get a full Wii U set up
This is
now?
a full set, yeah. So this is every Wii U game that was released in the Power Territories. This was my first ever full set. Took me a bit of time, but as much as anything else, I did it at the right time because they were shooting up in value. So it became a bit of a race against time. I was racing against the prices going up because I started doing it and then got casual, then fell off a bit, and all the prices were just going through the roof because the Wii U didn't sell many. So a lot of the games didn't sell.
I don't know anyone that had a Wii U, really.
No, it was poorly marketed.
Yeah.
Nintendo basically came off the success of the Nintendo Wii, which was like one of the biggest selling consoles of all time.
Yeah, for sure.
And they thought, let's just do a Wii U.
Yeah.
But they did no marketing. No one really knew what it was. People just thought it was another Wii. It was so poorly marketed that I think they relaxed on their laurels a bit. But in a lot of ways, it was the precursor to the Switch because it had like sort of functionality and an additional sort of gamepad.
And
like
the Switch is massive now. So
absolutely. So
whatever they did
like
wrong with that,
Tesla.
they fixed with that.
100%. But because they didn't sell, they didn't have many third-party companies making games for it, which is why there's only, 168 games in the set. So it was an achievable thing.
Yeah, no, for sure.
hit. So, yeah,
they don't
that's
look like the SNES games and that, no, do they? No, we're talking about like box art and that. Like, it's such worlds apart between like this and how that
I
stuff
like the
looks.
blue spines.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of box art, man, there's no competition.
What's going there? Have you got something in mind?
This is the one thing that hurts me in this room, right? This empty. It's like millimeters too small for like Game Boy games, and there will come a time where something will naturally fit, like little figures or something.
Yeah.
But as of right now, it's just dead space, which...
Not a bad thing when you've got a room where you're a collector, and with the amount of stuff you pick up,
I started collecting cassettes.
Yeah, cassettes are nice.
Like, I got Doggy Star and a few others, and like, you know what I mean? Like,
well, thingies would go in there. Amstrad games and things, they all come on tape.
Yeah.
Do you know
I
what?
don't need any more things to collect for
Well, the thing is about your collection.
Don't give me any more ideas, man.
This is This is like what's retro to you, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So there'd be somebody who's older than us, and they're into the Atari. They're into. I mean, you don't even have. I don't know even if you've got Master System.
No. But, Super Nintendo's and Mega Drive.
That's as old as it goes. Yeah. So you could be collecting, Atari and all this stuff, and Commodore and things.
Even original Nintendo.
Yeah. You don't even have NES games.
No.
Right. So yeah, that's another thing that you've like got your focus very good, because a lot of people would just go mad with it. I know, like when it comes to I was picking up retro games years ago, I just wanted anything that I thought looked cool, and it was cheap and at car boots and things. So you could have that attitude, but. Yeah, your focus is very good. I know we were talking as well, about like keks and a lot of this stuff. You just go charity shop hunting. Yeah, just tell us a little bit about that. For anybody that's not watched the Retro Ghetto, like a lot of your stuff you've got by hustling. You said that if you could just go and buy it all, you wouldn't want to.
No.
It's the hustling.
Absolutely, that's a big part of it for me, and it's quite apt that we're talking about the Wii U set, because I got this massively under market value because I did it this whole collection pretty much came through the CEX. So for people that don't know, what I do is I go out primarily to charity shops. I go out hunting and I'll pick up sort of Blu-rays, DVDs, or video games that they have. And then I sort of compare that with the market value. So if they're selling it for less than CEX will give you in terms of trade form. So you go to CEX with a game and they'll give you a voucher that you can then spend with them on another item.
Yeah, you get more trading than the money, don't
cash,
you?
They'll probably give you, I don't know, let's say they give you £3 cash, they might give you a £7 trading note, for example. So what I did was sort of save up all those notes and then buy the games that I wanted through the CEX on their website as and when they became available in stock. And that's ultimately led to me buying the full set of Wii U games. I calculated this and it roughly cost me £2,000 for the full set, but that's actually a falsified inflated figure because that 2,000 is including all those vouchers, which ultimately cost me a few pence in charity shops. So it cost me significantly less than the overall value because I'd never actually spent much money in collecting all the stuff from charity shops, car boots, etc. I
talked about your vlogs like you just built this room, but like one of the biggest parts of the vlogs and the thing that I like is in terms of like having a view on the market now, like your knowledge of it is paramount at this point, isn't it?
I've never professed to be the best at video games. I've never professed to have the most knowledge of video games. There's always someone that knows more. There's always someone that's got a better collection. But in terms of where the market is, the value, games that are like inflating and deflating, I treat it like stocks and shares, and that's where I kind of come into my own. I've got a very broad knowledge of the market, and I know just from years of experience what sort of things are worth value and what aren't. But even then, I'm limited to media, so I'm limited to sort of CD, DVD, Blu-ray, video games. People that sort of do it full time, they know everything.
Oh yeah.
Because I only know the value of things I'm interested in. But if you get to know the value of pottery,
handbags, shoes, saucers, exercise equipment,
that kind of thing, that's when you can start to really sort of make a profession out of it almost, if you like. But I just tend to focus on what I have a passion for. I didn't go out and wait to purposely learn things. It's just happened over time because I took an interest in hunting for things that I enjoy hunting for. I love this, man. I know you're a toy guy.
Yeah.
So this is from a Hong Kong company called Big Boys Toys.
Yeah, no, Big Boys Toys.
I just love this kind of like aesthetic of it.
That art toy territory, man.
Absolutely. It's very close to that kind of subculture. I'm a big sneaker guy as well. Like trainers, I'm a sneakerhead, right? And it kind of goes hands in hand, them cores.
But don't you think all this stuff is just all one in a way? Like cool trainers, cool action figure, cool video game, art,
that's what it is.
Street culture. I feel like it's all like very, very similar and intertwined. And obviously, I'm not a guy with a big follower of retro gaming fanatics, or at least I don't think I am. But to me, this is all the same.
So this is my first big Billy bookcase that I've got in here. This was the only like full-size one that I could fit. This is just housing my PS4 stuff. I'm not really a big collector of modern stuff, so this is more special editions.
Yeah.
I've got a penchant for like sleeve covers. So if I go through CEX, rather than just buying a standard game, if I can find one that comes with like a sleeve cover on it, that'll be the one that I end up buying. I've got a few toys. I'm a big Disney's Hercules fan, so I've got a couple of the Mattel figures up there, like the Pegasus and. Yeah, man, I grew up on Disney.
Because you collect toys. I met you through the toy fair, so you do pick up a bit of toys, and obviously they sell a bit of games at the toy fair. They're not many, but I met you through the toy scene.
If I didn't collect video games as avidly as this, I'd be a toy guy.
Yeah.
I love toys. It's just you can only do so much. You can only buy so much, you can only display so much. So my sort of thing is video games primarily, but then I put my favourite toys
and I think vice versa, if I didn't collect toys, I'd have more of my gaming stuff set up.
Yeah, I think they often go hand in hand.
Yeah, I think
a lot
absolutely.
of like, shops sell both things, and a lot of people collect both things. I think it's just that kind of period in time, and associating good memories with toys, and same with video games, really. These are just like from collector's editions. A couple of my favourite ones. I'm a big Greek mythology guy, so I love that.
That Assassin's Creed,
Yeah.
and obviously God of War.
Yeah, I mean, I just love this base as well, you know, like the Medusa's
head. Sick.
I just think that's sick. I love that.
They're the little things you find them in Horizon Forbidden West.
They're part of the God of War. They're like the what's it called?
Yeah, they're the two brothers. But in Horizon Forbidden West, you go out and find them.
Oh, okay.
There's 4
Yeah,
trophies to find, because you get the God of War paint on her face as well as a thing. Yeah, but you find those little things that it says like, found this old wooden toy. It looks like some kind of war.
I only played the
That's
first
what I
one.
thought they were from.
I only played this one. I played through it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I loved it.
But I preferred it when she was younger. You know, like the intro.
Yeah, which is a little.
I thought
kid,
it was cool, like, and then it lost me a bit towards the end. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
the story kind of lost me a little bit, but the gameplay was really good. I enjoyed it.
Because you got some nice God of War. Have you got every God of War like special edition?
I didn't buy the latest one. I actually made a video on, because they didn't even include the game, and I just
Yes, I saw a few people cussing that as well.
Yeah, just
it even comes with a box but no disc in it or some shit.
That's everything wrong with current culture,
yeah,
right?
No, 100%.
To sell you
100%.
an empty box, a 200 and something pound collector's edition should not come with an empty blue steel book. Put the disc in it. I didn't like it. It just annoyed me, so I didn't buy it.
What's the wooden one? Is that a collector's edition?
No, that's.
But that's like, that's some like next level collector's edition.
Yeah, it is. This is what they send out to like reviewers and stuff.
Oh right, so it is official.
It is, but it isn't. So you know, like I can't remember exactly what they call them now. Like a
press pack.
Press pack. That's it, like a press release. So this would have got sent out to like reviewers.
Yeah.
I think they do it less now because obviously cuts and.
Did it come from the developers? It's like.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So it's like somewhat crudely made.
Is that not like very very sought after?
Yeah, it is pretty sought after. Yeah.
Let me get some close-up shots. So we got this.
To slide it back up.
No, you're right. That is mint.
So there's all that different information, artwork. God of War 3 is probably one of my favourite games.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of God of War, and I like the hack and slash versions. But when it went into like the more cinematic stuff, it was like a different level.
It's a different game, and I enjoy them both. But like this is Kratos to me.
I was surprised when you told me that they were one of your favourite things to collect, these Game Boys, and that you loved the cases so much.
I love the.
Because obviously when you got them like that, you can only see a little bit of the cover, and it's all Game Boy.
It's just making do with the space you've got. But I am going to change the display around. I've reached capacity on a lot of shelves, so I'm going to do big changes. But I wanted to do it after you guys have been on films.
Yeah.
So it's almost like this is
the last time we're seeing it in this.
That's it. It's going to change a bit.
But you told me it were finished a minute ago. There's more to come.
It's finished, but this iteration's finished. But yeah, I love Game Boy. I just think they display so well. I could easily go crazy and buy loads of Game Boy games, but I'm trying to focus on Super Nintendo right now.
Got your mezcos. You're big into like, I know like you're not into your figures like you are your games, but there's a particular kind of figure that you like. I'm seeing like you like them like over proportioned art figures, and especially like street culture stuff.
Yeah, I really enjoy what
gangster shit.
I love what Mezco do. I love their sort of like art, like I say, somewhere between reality.
They did the Warriors figures. Yeah.
I think for me, the way I collect toys is I'm not a toy aficionado. I'm not like you. I don't know the backstory of these companies. I don't know everything about each creator and stuff like that. I don't collect toys to collect toys. I collect toys as an extension of things I enjoy.
Yeah.
So I don't collect toy lines that's just a toy line, primarily. I collect things like, for example, I love Scarface.
Yeah, Scarface.
So then I went down the route of buying the Scarface figures. The gangsters, I suppose, are the exception to that because they're just like a gangster.
But they're dope like grunts to have amongst them, do you know what I mean?
But I love all that kind of stuff, you know, that gangster stuff. I grew up watching all the gangster movies and I love them figures. They come with loads of accessories. I know Mr. Dan Plastic always talks about it, like, you know, figures that come with more accessories than hands. And it's annoying.
They don't like
They've got like meat hooks and all sorts. Like, what do you do with it all? You can only put one thing in his hand, right?
So good for photo shoots and things. If you're doing videos like me, then you
chuck them in a bag and give
nice
them to you.
Lots for accessories. Yeah, I take that all day.
You could do something with them.
You had a few of these. What made you keep the 360 over the others?
Because I used it more.
Right.
Simple as that. I had kiosks that are worth more money. I had kiosks that probably belong to systems that I enjoy more. I had a PS2 one, Wii U, I had an Xbox One. But this is that kind of era where there's so many games on the 360.
Yeah.
There's a lot of arcade races which I enjoy playing standing up. And it's connected to the internet, so you've got the live arcade. So if I ever just like
watch a thing.
Yeah, so if I ever like watch a YouTube video and someone mentions an arcade game or an old game, I can jump on here and download it maybe for a couple of quid and just stand up and play it.
Mad.
And I love the aesthetic of it. I like the green lights. It kind of matches my whole sort of like retro ghetto colour scheme and everything. So yeah, I really enjoy that one.
Does it work with a light gun as well? I know they had a gun for this as well.
There's a Kinect.
Is that what you do for the
Kinect function? Yeah. Because the thing about light guns is it's all about the television. You need like a CRT television because the refresh
These
rate.
have a little strip that you put on top, don't they?
Yeah, that's right. So you could convert it into that. But I've got big plans for this. It's going to be a video. I'm going to get some like, because I've got the original artwork. It should go here,
some
here, and here.
decals or something.
But it's like Xbox Kinect artwork.
Okay.
It's horrible, man.
Dead.
Ugly, just like a couple of kids playing a Kinect or whatever.
Yeah,
so I took it off, but I am going to put my own artwork on it. I'm working on it now.
Is that an original Nintendo shop piece as well?
1990.
Where was that from?
Another collector. But for me, you have to like wear gloves to touch it.
Like some of the old play sets, they're like vacuum foam plastic that's so thin that they're so like flimsy and it'll just crack.
It's hollow. You have to treat it with kid gloves. Like I don't even like touching it. I don't even like cleaning it.
They were like breathing near it.
Yeah, like there's the odd crack in it now, but like I just don't want to touch it. But that's my favorite. That's probably my favorite piece in my whole collection. Yeah. And then obviously the Rugrats, because I'm a big 90s guy.
Yeah, you're into the
I wanted to have a little bit.
Hey Arnold.
I wanted to have a little bit of everything that I love in this room.
Yeah.
I mean, like a game room for me is a reflection of the person's interests, right? It sort of says a lot about the person, what's in the room.
Yeah.
And Rugrats for me was a massive thing, man. Watching it at my grandma's house and Nickelodeon because I couldn't afford cable back in the day, like my mum's. So,
I was exactly the same, all that wrestling and that I watched at friends' houses.
I still remember to this day, 7:30 in the morning and 4:30 in the afternoon, Rugrats came on. I used to watch every episode, sat down, my legs crossed in front of the TV. And now I've got like the flipping DVD.
And you've got the game, that was a mint PlayStation game.
Yeah.
Playing the golf and all that, yeah.
I'm trying to get my son to watch it there, trying to get him into it so I don't have to watch like flipping...
Peppa Pig or whatever.
Oh man, it gets worse than that. What's Blippi?
Blippi and Paw Patrol and all that, yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you like with your PlayStation games? Is that something that you've like specifically gone out looking for, or are these ones that you just picked up? Because I can see that this isn't a collection that's like the SNES and things.
PlayStation's not a big passion of mine.
And they're ugly. They're great games, but on a
absolutely.
shelf, you could have 10 or you could have 100 and it has the same effect.
If I'd sell one game collection tomorrow, it'd be PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
I loved it at the time growing up. It was an era, it was a moment in time. Although I was a chipped guy in it, so I don't have any nostalgia for the boxes.
I'm similar.
They're a bit like throwaway because we used to get them like for £1, £2 each or whatever.
Yeah.
So we used to get like just empty discs. But these are just things that I've either the odd one that I really wanted, but for the most part, it's just things I've come across charity shops, bundles, just added over the time. But like I say, if I was to get rid of one collection, it would probably be PlayStation 1. But there's no need to, so they don't take up any room. Really.
No, they really don't. They're very specific size, like what else you're fitting in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Mega Drive is, I love the Mega Drive.
That's my console, innit?
Yeah.
I had the Amiga 500, but they were just like loads of floppy disks.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like actually having like a nice cartridge, you did have that on Amiga and things, but the ones that I really remember like loving was the Mega Drive or
my
Master
generation
System.
growing up, it was either Super Nintendo or Mega Drive.
Yeah.
Right, and it was like the whole school ground debates in the playground, right, about what you preferred. And I was definitely a Super Nintendo kid, but I was lucky enough to have both. And as I've got older and become a collector, I appreciate the Mega Drive more and more. It's a very different library to the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, it is.
Probably a bit more adult. Different sort of themes. It's probably a bit more macabre, a bit darker. Some of the games.
Definitely, and
Different
I don't even know
vibe.
if that's like a stylistic choice or just the way that it plays games. They're just a bit darker. The music's a little bit more like
I think it suits the hardware.
gritty.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a bit bassy, more so.
Yeah.
I love the Super Nintendo because, as you can see, I'm a colours guy.
Yeah, it's
I like
bright,
loud
colourful.
colours, bright. I like happy things, right? I like things to take me to a happy place.
Yeah.
Mega Drive is a very different vibe.
Like Streets of Rage to Final Fight,
Yeah.
it's like night and day, isn't it?
Definitely.
Like Jurassic Park on here to Jurassic Park on SNES, it's like completely different.
Yeah.
I know there's loads of Jurassic Park games, but like they've all like the greens are murkier. Like you said, the music's bassier.
But I love it. I just wish I'd bought more Mega Drive games earlier on because I bought a lot of Super Nintendo games when they were still expensive, but not like today's market. And like now, Mega Drive collecting, it's it's very expensive and it's hard to find games complete with manual and that kind of stuff, especially the more sought after titles. But yeah, I love the Mega Drive.
And do you collect a game on both? Because I know you've got Gods here, you've got Gods on SNES. Do you want them on both, or is it just a case of owning the game?
Mega Drive and Super Nintendo are one of the few systems that I want everything for.
Yeah.
So I'll never get rid of a game if I can find it for a good price. I love them consoles that much that even games that I'll probably never play, I'll add it to the collection simply because I love that. Whereas other consoles, it's more, I'd only want games that I'd play, you know what I mean? So yeah, I've got a couple of shelves here that are dedicated to toys and figures. This is probably my favourite line of every toy line that I own. It's the DC figures from God of War 3. So they only actually made 4 figures. But I was lucky enough to get the prototype as well of the Kratos.
What, is that the actual prototype?
Yeah, the actual prototype.
From the factory?
It's got the marking on the foot.
That's mint.
I was just lucky enough. It was one of them things that was on eBay and it was too expensive. And I was badgering the seller for ages and ages and kept having it on my watch. And eventually caved in and he sold it to me like at a decent price. But because it's like probably one of my
waited for that
favourite
weekend when he really needed that little
but
ledge.
it's good because it's such a small toy line. God of War 3, as we've already said, is one of my favourite games ever made. I just think it's so well stylised. So to have the prototype for that was brilliant. And then in the back, there's a few of my favourite NECA figures as well, but you can't really see them in there. It probably needs a light in the shelf. And then like the Street Fighter, which is my favourite toy line to collect for. I just love the variety on Street Fighter.
You used to have them there, didn't you? You've moved them across. They work well in there, though.
I had I used to have a lot of the Storm collectibles, which is like the newer ones, the real high-end articulated things that can cost like £200
6 different pairs of hands
figure.
and things.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I'm a retro guy at heart, and I love the things that are a bit harder to find.
Yeah.
Walking into a shop and buying something doesn't really do it for me. So for me, I prefer like the SOTA, so state-of-the-art toys. That's what the majority of these are. They're a lot harder to find. They've all got terrible joints. They won't stand up. Half of these are super glueable. I absolutely love them, man. I think there's a charm about a lot of these, and because they're so hard to find now, that's again, it's that hunt thing for me. It's enjoying the hunt, enjoying finding a new figure that I don't already own, and sticking it on the shelf with the rest of the collection. But yeah, I just love the artwork. I'm terrible at fighting games, but I love the lore. I love the artwork. I think of all video games, one-on-one fighters is where the most artwork gets put into. You know, like there's so many comic books, and I think there's a big connect between people that love art and people that love one-on-one fighters, because they seem to be like hand in hand with each other. But then these are the big boys toys. So this is the same company that make the Wii U that I showed you down there.
Okay.
But I love these things, man. These are like, so each of them do.
Akuma.
But yeah, it's another thing that are quite hard to get in the country.
Because it's got some more,
Because it's a Hong Kong-based company. It makes shipping a bit of a nightmare, but yeah, I love them things.
And again, they just fit in nicely. It's like they've got a perfect place for them with those backgrounds.
Big on symmetry. And then continuing with the Street Fighter, I've got my minis here. So I put in like a little shelf. So these are all like IKEA Billy bookcases, but obviously you can add more shelves.
You can switch them up.
So yeah, I put like all my Kid Robot Street Fighter figures down here. And then there's a few Pulp Fiction minis down there as well. Capcom Home Arcade, and then just loads of other video games. Where
was this thing from? I know like you see them in a shop and stuff, but was that another marketplace?
No, this was the one I got really lucky on. This was eBay. I just happened to be looking at like life-size figures or statues or something on eBay.
As you do.
Mate, that's my life right there. So somebody had listed this. It'd only been live for like a couple of days, and it was on a 7-day auction. And I think it was like opening bid £200 or something like that. And I just thought I'd try my luck, right? And I messaged him and I said, I'll give you £250 for it. I'll come and collect it now.
Yeah.
Because in the world of collecting, you know what it's like. You got to act fast. Give people that impetus to say yes. I said, I'll come and collect it tonight.
Yeah.
That's old school stuff. Clicking them.
Yeah, I didn't even touch
it. That's what happens, man. Honestly, the amount of times I'm sitting here, my TV will just go boom. Like what? But yeah, so this was on eBay. Like only a couple of days gone on the listing, and I messaged him, and he went for it.
Yeah.
And literally, it was little man's bedtime. I was like, we're going on a road trip, mate. Chucked him in the back of the car. I drove about an hour and a half away. And it was, you know them people that are rich but dirty?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like, because you could tell the area is like an affluent area, but like they're a bit hoarderish. This thing was filthy.
Oh, no way.
So I had to like clean every single
millimeter of this. Touching him up.
Oh, mate, I went for about 5 packs of wipes, 2 cans of Mr. Sheen, like added to the ozone layer.
3 Poscas.
Yeah, painted it all up and everything. But I absolutely love this thing, man. I'm not even the biggest Halo fan, but I just love how it looks.
Yeah, yeah.
I enjoy the games, but I just think it looks cool. And again, it ties into that thing for me of collecting things that you're not going to find another one.
Yeah.
Where would you get another one?
And it makes it feel like it's got that shop vibe when you're walking. You got your signs. I mean, it feels like most people's collection, they want to get to a point where it feels a little bit like a shop that you walk in.
Standout piece, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's one of the things that people notice when they walk in. I get family members walk in. This is probably one of the first things that they talk about. But again, it was an absolute bargain, like 250 quid from memory. You can still order these from the original company that makes them, like Oxman.
Yeah.
But if you were to buy one of these and get it to England from Germany, probably £4,000.
Yeah. No, so, you did nice.
Yeah, really nice.
So should we talk about the SNES collection? Because the SNES collection is like the prize piece of this room, isn't it? That's like the thing that you're always sat behind when you do your videos and things.
Yeah, this is my pride and joy.
I know we talked a little bit about it at the start, but I like a lot of these big hitters, and this is what I tell people when I talk about you, always in a good way, that this is a guy that don't want to pay big prices. He does a lot of that kex hunting, and then you use that money to get like a big boy game sent that you would never normally go out and buy. You don't want to spend like 150 quid, 200 quid on a game.
Absolutely. I think it's that kind of, as you get older and you've got responsibilities and a family, I can't justify spending, some of these games are like £500 now. I can't justify that. So I almost run my collection in my room similar to like a business. So it's kind of like, I like to pay for this stuff through my hunting and through the work that I do with CEX and that kind of thing. And then, as I say, that just, it means I can buy these things with a clear conscience.
Yeah.
Because obviously I could be putting the money in better places and more important places.
Because it's just Keck's credit. It's not even like they give you the cash to buy it. So
it's like guilt-free spending to some extent, right? So yeah, I love it. I absolutely love the hunt of it. And as I say, this is where it all started for me. Got the console down there that I got for one Christmas.
Mint.
And that was literally what kicked everything off.
That's your original as well.
That's the reason I've got this stuff. That's the reason I've got a YouTube channel. That's the reason all that passion comes from, that one Christmas and opening that box. And
yeah, because you did a video recently, didn't you, talking about like your initial like love of this stuff, and then how it kickstarted later on in life with the God of War and things.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it's nice that you can get some of these games with that clear conscience, and as well, like, as much as you're a collector, I'm a collector. There's some stuff that it's not worth 500 quid to me. I like it, but it's like I don't think it's worth. If I had £500 right now spare, it's going to go on something that I enjoy more than buying something that I don't really think is worth 500 quid. So it is a really nice way of doing it.
It's always about value as opposed to monetary value. What it's worth to you, and ultimately, I say this all the time. Literally, I think every video I make now, I'm not a mint collector.
Yeah.
And that helps me. A lot of collectors want everything in the most pristine way possible. I'd rather take it in better condition, but I'd rather pay half the price and have it a bit beat up, put it in a nice box protector. I think it displays well. I think it looks great on the wall. And it's probably cost me half the price as it would have cost me if I was searching for complete inbox with, no creases and
I think it's nice, a little bit of patina, a little bit of a wear and tear. It shows that someone loved it, man. It's got a bit of a story on it, and if they was like immaculate, they might as well be a repro box, aren't they?
I mean,
they've got a little bit of wear and tear. It's nice.
I've spoken to other collectors about it, and I'm just so happy that I'm not lying to myself. I genuinely don't care enough, and I'm so thankful that it doesn't bother me, because it would have cost me a fortune. If this bothered me, I'd have to get all mint stuff and right. There's
no way to live though, is it?
I would have had I'd have 10 games right now or something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm glad that I'm not anal about things like that.
You're getting into grading territory and all that shit, do you know what I mean?
I just like owning and displaying, and if I can own it and it displays well, I'm happy with it.
And it's, do you know, with your videos and people tell me about my stuff, and I think that's why we connect, is that we have such a passion for this stuff. Yeah. That it's that the quality of the box is second. It's about owning that thing because you're passionately wanting it, because you're a collector and you love it, and you had it as a kid, or you didn't have it as a kid, you wish you had. And or it's part of a set that you've been collecting, and now you've finally got that one to finish the set. When I watch your videos and I see like you getting something that you love, I don't feel jealous, I don't feel bitter that I ain't got it, I don't feel like any other way other than like, oh yeah man, I love that he's got it, because I know how much it means to him.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, I say this to anybody that does YouTube or any content, if you don't enjoy it, don't do it. People say to me, oh, you're so happy, always smiling, positive. That's because I'm talking about things I love.
Yeah.
If I didn't love this stuff, I won't dedicate this much of my time to it, right? I'm a busy guy. I've got to spread myself in so many different places. If this wasn't a strong passion and I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't be spending my time doing it. I absolutely love it. And I think that shows in the room. I've put a lot of effort into this room. It's a genuine labour of love. Hopefully that shows through, because it's been a lot of work, but I think it's worth it.
So yeah, man, we've had a mint day just checking out the collection room and just vibing and just like seeing you in your environment that you've built, and just hearing your passion for the games and stuff. It's mint. I'm a big fan of your channel, as you know.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
If people want to check out your stuff, where we going, where we're heading?
Yeah, just find me, Retro Ghetto. Twice a week I put out a mainline video on a Wednesday where I tend to look at something in my collection or add new things, and then on a Sunday I do the Ghetto vlogs. So it's basically like it covers a week in my collecting life, hunting for games, hunting at charity shops, working on the games room. This is like the finished product of what I've been doing for the last year, but it's never really finished, is it?
Never.
So I'll be continuing tweaking everything cover all that on the vlog. So yeah, just type in Retro Ghetto, you'll find me.
I'll put all the links down in the comments below, and yeah man, looking forward to getting this video out and doing some more stuff in the future.
Absolutely.
Slimehouse TV, Retro Ghetto, the collab finally in the bag, the first of many hopefully. And until next time, I'm gone. Pow!
Pow! What you know about Retro Ghetto? Collecting and playing retro. Street Fighter on the Nintendo. I'm a veteran at this, not a pro. Lock into the Retro Ghetto. Come and have a look around in the ghetto. We got Sonic and Staples settle. Lock into the Retro Ghetto. I play games with my son PlayStation. Man, I old school like an Atari gamer. Tiger, hit man with the Tiger Flamer. This shit reality, not like Sega. Dreamcast, Mega Drive, my master system. N64 and Super Nintendo.